Welcome in to another Running with the Timberwolves podcast on the Believe Sports Network. My name is Gabe Anderson, going solo tonight because we got to do some celebrating. The Timberwolves stave off elimination and win in Dallas by a score of 105-100. And it's just nice not to be swept. Now, I'm going to talk about the ramifications of all of this, what this could mean going forward, what I saw in this game, but we got one. We got one, and I know that it's been swarming around Wolves Twitter. Don't let us get one. Well, the Mavericks let us get one, and the Mavericks threw everything they had at us. They had Luka hitting an impossible shot. It's never easy as a Minnesota Timberwolves fan, but the Wolves got it done tonight. Some clutch shooting from Anthony Edwards, the one where he's spinning all around trying to find an opening, throws it off the glass. That was huge. Also, his jumper to put us basically put the game away. And then I got to give some credit to Kyle Anderson. His inbound pass to Naz Reid was a great pass. That was an amazing pass to Naz Reid and a heads-up play by Naz Reid too, because Kyrie was right there. If that pass wasn't pretty good or if that pass was off, that could be a turnover in going the other way. A risky pass, but definitely a great pass by Kyle Anderson. And Kyle Anderson, he played well tonight. You got to give him his flowers. Now, not necessarily a stat-stuffing night. He only had 2 points. But like they were saying on the broadcast, he set the flare squeeze screen on the Dallas player to get Karl Anthony Towns open for the three. And just credit to Karl Anthony Towns as well. He's been shooting abysmal. I think they said on the broadcast that the only player who shot worse in the playoffs so far of all time was Ron Artest. And Karl Anthony Towns did not look like Ron Artest tonight. He finishes with 25 points in only 30 minutes, 9 for 13 from the field, but the big number, 4 for 5 from 3. That is the cat that we know and love. That is the cat that deserves a max contract. Now, I'm not saying he deserves a max contract or not, but tonight he absolutely did. That is the cat who's hitting clutch threes in crunch time. Now, and we can talk about the stupid fouls till hell or high water, because that really could come back to bite him. And that definitely came back to bite him in this game as he followed out of the game. But I'm choosing to look at the positive. He also had 5 rebounds as well. And some credit to Daniel Gafford for them. Kind of having a Rudy Gobert effect. You saw, what did he have? I think he had a good amount of blocks tonight. Yeah, 3 blocks tonight. But there were a lot of times Anthony Edwards going through the lane and basically saying, nope. Kind of like what we saw with Rudy Gobert this year, where Anthony Edwards kind of goes through another player goes through the lane and then sees Gobert and basically dribbles on through or decides not to go with it. Daniel Gafford's a nice defensive player, and I don't know if they're going to have Lively back in the next game. Apparently, he was not concussed. That could be a factor. But let's go to a question here. Are you worried about Luka getting whiplash from throwing his head back every time a defender touches him? We should be concerned, Chris. We really should, because Luka is just a national treasure. I love how he's out there trying to draw every single foul. I kind of say he's a little bit like Trae Young in that way. And I know my good friend Eric is going to hate that because he's a huge Trae Young fan. But Trae Young, he's just frustrating to watch because he's trying to draw every single foul. And it's interesting that I mentioned Trae Young because remember, Trae Young got traded for Luka Doncic. So it's an interesting comparison right there. By the way, let me stop right now. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe on YouTube and give us a 5-star rating on Spotify and or Apple. This is the Running with the Timberwolves podcast, and let's keep going here. But what a game from Karl Anthony Towns. The game that we needed. I personally needed this game out of Karl Anthony Towns. It was like, oh, yeah, this is the guy that can go off for 60. This is the guy who's proclaimed the best big man three-point shooter in the league. Oh, yeah, that's the guy that we're talking about. And we saw him tonight. By the way, I do want to show my shirt because bring your ass back to Minneapolis, Chuck. I know you don't want to. I heard you before the game basically calling the Timberwolves a dead man walking. I heard you. But guess what? So did Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert. And they didn't care because they went out there and got the W tonight. Finally, we see some shooting out of Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Wasn't great, 2 for 5 from the field, but 2 big threes. I mean, that could be the difference in the game right there. And big threes for Nickeil Alexander-Walker. And I'm wondering, I didn't see the stat. I wasn't prepared with the stat, but I noticed it when I was watching the game. I think Reggie Miller, or maybe it was Kevin Harlan, said that Mike Conley in the playoffs is shooting somewhere in the 60% range for free throw shooting. Man, that's not ideal. And I think that's why you saw Karl Anthony Towns take the technical free throws. There were 2 of them tonight, but the Wolves only shot 64% from the free throw line. If they shoot better from the free throw line, we might not go down to crunch time in this one, but you got to take what you can get. Jaden McDaniels, I thought, played a good game tonight, plus 14 on the night. Also, you got to mention plus 15 for Karl Anthony Towns. Jaden hit a couple shots, didn't really do much offensively, had 10 points, but I think right in the Jaden range, get about 10, 12 points, play stellar defense, and I think that gives us a great chance to win the game. But it's great to get one. You know, it's great not to get swept. Now, obviously, I'm looking forward at the future saying maybe we can do something. Maybe we go back to the crib, get a win, and then it's 3-2, and who knows? I mean, Boston last year won 3 games in a row and almost beat Miami. I think in that game, Jason Tatum got hurt, and then basically their chances were much slimmer, although they still had Jaylen Brown in that game. But man, it's nice to get a victory, isn't it? Doesn't this just feel good not to get swept? Even if we get beat on Thursday, which I don't think we will. I got confidence, and me and Chris will talk about that going forward here. But just a great game for the Minnesota Timberwolves. And yes, I do agree, Chris. I hope that Target Center is out of control game 5, because I think that they will. Every game that I have went to at Target Center for the playoffs, I basically went to all of the Denver games. It's just how it worked out. I don't know how I ended up at all those games, but it's just how it worked out. The place was in Flago, particularly that game 6 when we were killing them. I've never seen fans have more fun than in that game. I mean, you got the chicken dance going on as Luka Garza's hitting a 3. I've never seen fans have more fun than in that game. And let me give you some advice, Wolves fans. If you can get some tickets in the rafters, like basically not in the rafters, but in the upper deck, I don't want to say the tippy top, but if you could snag some, I don't want to say cheap, but decently priced tickets, you're going to have a fun time, because those are the true fans. Now, I don't want to do like a proletariat bourgeoisie kind of thing, but the fans in the upper deck, they're standing the whole time, they're having a good time, and they're just enjoying the ride, man, because those were the fans, those were the diehards, not the season ticket holders who probably have Fortune 500 companies. And I'm not going out at season ticket holders, but the people who are struggling to get a ticket to the games, those are the people that you want to sit with, because they really want to be there. They're not there because of a corporate event. They're not there because of their daddy's business. They're there because they want to be there and they want to see this team succeed. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not calling out the people who sit in the lower deck. I've sat in the lower deck tons of times. All I'm saying is, and maybe I've gone too far with it. All I'm saying is the upper deck's a party. That's all I'm saying. It's an absolute party. Well, anyway, and I got another question. Can you stream live pregame just to see the atmosphere? If I end up going, I will. I don't know if I'll be able to go. I will try. I will try everything in my power to be there, but I don't know if I will be able to go to that one just because of ticket prices. Ticket prices are just ridiculous, but we'll have to see what goes down with that. But Anthony Edwards, and I hate to say that. I don't want to say star making performance because he's already a star, but just adding to the resume here in an elimination game. Anthony Edwards goes for 29 points, 11 for 25 from the field. So not ideal, but he made those shots down the stretch, shots that he wasn't making before earlier on in this series. And you saw it. Denver had it tied. No, excuse me. I did it again. I got a lot of flack in my last video I got a lot of flack in the last video because I called them the Denver Mavericks on accident. So I'm not going to do that again here. I caught myself. You saw it again. The Mavs tied up the game, and we thought, oh, shoot, Luka and Kyrie are going to go off. They're going to take this game over. Well, guess what? They didn't down the stretch. I mean, Luka hit that crazy shot, to be fair, and I'm going to get to this unbiased Cowboys comment here in a second and probably disprove you, but down the stretch, Kyrie Irving tonight, 6 of 18, 16 points from the field. And you hold Luka Doncic to 7 of 21 and 4 of 11 from 3. I mean, that's a pretty good outing. Mike Conley and Anthony Edwards outplayed Luka and Kyrie, and this is coming off basically me saying that, and I know we have a clip that circled around that saying that Mike Conley can't guard Kyrie Irving, but he did a pretty good job tonight. He did a pretty good job tonight guarding Kyrie Irving, and a nice work out of Mike Conley, which is always good to see. You could tell Mike Conley did not want to go home swept. I believe last time he was in the Western Conference Finals, he didn't get swept, but it really wasn't that much of a series, and that was 10 years ago. Mike Conley did not want to lose this game. And I just got to give credit to the Wolves really quick because it's very easy. And while we're at it, give a little credit to the Pacers as well. It's really easy to, when you're down 0-3 on the road, to just pack it in. It's easy to book your tickets to Cancun. It's easy to say, man, Luka and Kyrie are just better than us. We'll get them next year. But no, they didn't do that. This team is dedicated at winning one game at a time. And I know it's a very coaches speak kind of thing. Just take it one game at a time, one game at a time. But that's really what they got to look at it, because look at our path going forward. Next game, we're at home. Maybe wearing the throwback jerseys. The place is going to be crazy. You win that game, and who knows what happens. You proved you can win in their crib. Why not go and do it again? And then you got a game 7 in Minneapolis, and that would be insane. So let's get to unbiased Cowboys comments. Y'all so dirty, trying to kill players. Y'all lucky Lively was out. F-Cat, good game though, LOL. Well, let's take it step by step. Are we dirty, or is Luka Doncic flailing at every single time there's any contact and the refs aren't giving him every call? Are we lucky Lively was out? Well, Gafford kind of hurt us as well, so I think those kind of even out, because it's not like Lively, really all Lively's doing is catching lobs. And I think that basically Lively and Gafford pretty much do the same thing. It's not like Daniel Gafford is going to do a post move, particularly in a Luka offense, where he backs down, does a spin move. I think that Rudy Gobert would thrive in a Luka offense because all he's got to do is catch the ball and dunk it. F-Cat, well, he got the best of you tonight. Good game, though. Kudos to you as well. I mean, we'll see you game 5. But I really think that Rudy Gobert would thrive with Luka Doncic. And let's get to this. What has Rudy Gobert done to really anger people that aren't Draymond Green? Like, why do you hate Rudy so much, Dallas fans? Why does the NBA hate Rudy so much? Is it just because we gave up a lot to give him? Because a lot of players have given up a lot to get him. Is it because he did a COVID thing where he touched the mic like 4 years ago and people still aren't over that? Okay, Dallas fans. I thought don't you have someone on your team who spread anti-Semitic stuff on Twitter? What's worse, Dallas fans? I'm just saying, don't you have someone on your team who said the earth is flat? I don't know. Is it apples and oranges? I don't know. Why do people hate Rudy so much? I don't get it. He's just a good defensive player who goes on in the dark vacations where he just sits in a room and gets his head right. He likes French stuff. I don't get this hate for Rudy Gobert, and I never will. For them to yell Rudy sucks, first of all, you're probably just fueling his fire, because I think that most NBA players wear that as a badge of honor when someone says that they suck. But I don't know. Like, why do fans hate Rudy so much? Is it because they blocked his favorite player about 5 or 6 times? It's not like Rudy ruined the Mavs or any other team's chance to go to the championship or advance in the playoffs. Wasn't the MO that Rudy gets played out of the playoffs? Wasn't that his MO? I don't know. I don't know why you guys hate Rudy Gobert. I really don't get it. Now, let's see what Jared has to say. It's because Rudy won't win or lose you games. He's just solid. I get that. I understand. I will come back with this. I do think that he has won a good amount of games for us this year defensively, and I think that's why he won Defensive Player of the Year. I'm talking regular season games. I'm not talking the playoff run, but I do think he's won us some games so far this season. Now, obviously, let's be fair. Rudy Gobert, although he does like to try, is not going to go on a fast break by himself, cross over 3 defenders and dunk it. He obviously needs Ant, and he needs Cat, and he needs the rest of the team. That's true for any player. But I do think that Rudy Gobert has won some games for us this season. But anyway, again, don't get the Rudy hate. Don't understand. And we got another comment here from Jared. It's simple. If Cat shows up, we win out. I agree. Karl Anthony Towns is the key to all of this. And I thought not only his threes, obviously he went 4 for 5 from 3, right? So good shooting night for him. But I thought he got it going in the second half early on. He got some quick moves to the basket. It wasn't something where he's backing down for 4 or 5 dribbles and then throwing up something or getting caught. He did a reverse pivot and then went right to the basket, got fouled, and got a couple points. That's what I like. I like when Cat is quick and decisive. Even if he misses the shot, I like when he's way more decisive than clogging up the paint. Because you saw it, I will give the Mavs credit. Their ball movement is really good sometimes. Like, for example, I don't know if you guys remember the show The Starters, who is now the No Dunks, who do a podcast, very good on YouTube and on Spotify and all of the streaming services. But they basically work for The Athletic, and they used to have a show on NBA TV called The Starters. And basically they would do this thing with Lee Ellis, who's not with them anymore. He's fine. He's alive, but just not with the show. They used to do this thing called A Very Solid Play. It was basically a play where they'd move, where a team would move the ball around, just pocket passing, and then either turn into a dunk, a layup, or a 3. So just a really good play. I think that Dallas had a couple of those tonight. And it's usually just not, I'm not just talking Luka's passing, although Luka, we give him his flowers. He's a good passer. He's a good player. He's a great player. He's a top 3 player in the league. I'll give him that. And do I hate that he flails all the time like Trae Young? Trae Young is basically the better version, in my opinion, of Luka Doncic, which is crazy because they were traded for each other. But let's move forward here. We did a good job on PJ Washington. I know he always hits a 3 or so in the fourth quarter, but 2 for 9 from the field, 3 for 13 from 3. Derrick Jones Jr. gave us some trouble, hit those 3 threes. Gafford around the rim. Like I said, you can basically sub out Gafford and or Lively. Pick your poison there. Maxi Kleber is still afraid to shoot a 3, and that was very imminent. I know that he shot 2, but he missed them both. And I thought we did a pretty good job tonight. Pretty good job defensively, particularly early. And I'll end with this. I'll end with this. I was thinking at halftime when it was 49-49 and the Wolves basically dominated the first half. Let's be completely honest. I was thinking we're done. I was thinking this game is over. Kyrie and Luka are going to do their thing, and we're going to lose this game. Chuck is not going to have to bring his ass back to Minneapolis. But to their credit, and even when the Mavs went on a couple small runs, the Wolves just kept coming back. They kept coming back. It started with Cat, and then Ant hit some shots. Conley hit a 3, and then they just kept coming back. Nas hit a couple shots. And they just kept competing and did not say die. And I saw it just briefly before going on here. They asked Ant basically, hey, is this nice to get the monkey on the back? Do you feel better? Do you feel good about finally getting a win? And what did Ant say? No, man, we got a lot of work to do. And that's what I love about this kid. This kid is 22. He could have easily said, yeah, man, it's great to get a win. What a great experience. No. He knows that the mission has not been completed. He knows that in 2 days, well, really a day and a half at this point, he's going to have to do it all over again. He knows that moral victories are not enough. Maybe they're enough for some fans, but it's not enough for Anthony Edwards and the crew. They are going to fight until the final whistle, and that's what I love about this team. And yes, Jared, tonight was an absolute W. This is the Running with the Timberwolves podcast on the Believe Sports Network. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe on YouTube, and give us a 5-star rating on Spotify and or Apple. And as always, go Wolves. Wolves in 7, baby.